Greetings and welcome to another chapter of the show, everybody. And in today's chapter, we'll be talking about our 5 top goth or gothic horror icons through the years. And this is going to be a fun one because number 1 is an obvious choice, but the rest of the 4 are kind of fluid. We're going to figure out like what makes them that placement and why we wanted to place them there. So to start off, I'd say I want to ask you, Will, what's your number 5?
Ironically, for number 5, I actually had the character of Count Dracula from Bram Stoker's Dracula from the 1992 film specifically, because as repeat watchers of our show would know, we've had a lot of discourse when it comes to Dracula and his gothic authenticness.
Right. Right, and I would definitely second that. You know, he's definitely a gothic character, but to call him like a straight goth character, I don't know. You know, definitely gothic.
Right.
Let's break him down real quick. You know, because we don't want to waste anybody's time. So Dracula, he drinks a lot of blood. So
that is his general favorite event of the day. Yes, or
right. I would probably second that and say that's one of his favorite events of his day. With that being said, I mean, okay, so he's drinking blood, so crimson all over him. His coat is red and black. I believe Gary Oldman wore red and black.
I definitely know it was red, but I think he was more red and gold, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, in one when he's like real old looking, it's red and gold.
The white hair and all that.
Yeah, he does wear the classic, top hat with.
Yes, I was gonna say I'll have picture coming across the screen for this because that outfit of his like day to day walking around like that is absolutely like probably one of the best gothic outfits.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I can think of.
That's dude. If anybody dresses in that, they look fly as hell, as a goth. You know,
and of course Gary Oldman pulls it off, you know, impeccably.
Now I'm trying to, and we'll get back to this if he deserves to get bumped down, if he is going to stay at that, you know, number 5 spot. But I want to be able to convince myself, like, why would he be dead last in our top 5 versus who we got coming up? So we're gonna revisit Dracula if you're okay with that.
Sure.
And we're going to move on to the next one, who I think is an awesome character, but Miss Valentine.
Okay.
So what has she been in? Where have we seen her?
Well, most famously, she was the newest character in the movie The Bride of Chucky in 1998, and she also featured in later movies. Let's see, The Seed of Chucky in 2004, The Curse of Chucky in 2013, The Cult of Chucky in 2017, and the Chucky TV series is where we would know her from.
That's crazy to see that she's been around since 1998. You know, like, I feel like it wasn't that long ago that that she was introduced into the series.
Right.
But yeah, and now you look at it and we're like
she's 25. been in more movies than she hasn't been.
Right, exactly. Like, that's insane. But why goth? You know, like, what makes her goth? Could it be the black dress?
Well, I mean, that's certainly one thing.
Right.
Also, Jennifer Tilly's portrayal of both the human character and the actual doll character, both very gothic in their appearance, you know, generally black dress, you know, the doll has the black hair, black eyeliner.
Right.
And most of it is the outfit. And of course, also the fact that she's very witchy and she knows the ritual of how to turn herself into a doll.
Good point.
That gives her some extra points as well.
Right. She gets some brownie points.
Yes.
Dang, I didn't even think about that. She is kind of like a witch. Dang. Perfect for Chucky.
Yes.
You know, he's a...
You know, she also a serial unaliver.
Oh, right. Yeah,
but
serial,
you know,
unaliver.
What's that between a love story?
Right. Who... You can't stop love, you know, especially not from 2 murderous dolls. Shoot, that does kind of make her a little bit more goth than Dracula, doesn't it? Like the fact that she dresses a little bit more goth. Here's the thing though, is like Bram Stoker's Dracula is so Victorian.
Yes.
You know? And if there's a goth outfit that I love more than anything, it's Victorian. Like 100%.
Yes, that top hat, coat, vest with the silver, well, not silver because again he's a vampire, but with the metal chain, to a pocket watch, button down shirt, that's again a very Gothic attire.
So I think we keep them where they're at right now. We got Dracula at 5, Tilly at 4. It just depends on how we feel about 3 and 2. 1 is 1. 1 is 1. You
feel strongly about number 1, do you?
We both know it. We both know it. But number 3 is we decided Frankenstein's monster, right?
Yes.
Frankenstein's monster, he's a gloomy guy. Very intelligent, reads a lot, keeps to himself, wears big dark clothes. But how goth is he compared to Tilly or Dracula? Of course Frankenstein and Dracula are kind of like on that same realm.
Icons of the genre.
Right. But I want to talk about Frankenstein. What do you think?
Well, this was something that I brought up when I was discussing him for this list, how another character that we spoke very highly of and ranked very highly on our list previously was Edward Scissorhands.
Right.
And I thought the similarities between these two characters is very striking because, like Edward Scissorhands, or I guess since Frankenstein's monster came first, Edward Scissorhands is like him. He's not like Edward Scissorhands.
Right.
But similarly, both characters were created by scientists, so they have no say in what their role in life is like. They're here essentially against their will. So, and because of that, he's different from everyone else in society. And because of that, he's seen as an outcast. He's seen as a villain, as a monster to all the villagers of where he's living. So by that nature, he's an outcast, which, very much goth. If you know what living like a goth is like, you're always, people always looking at you funny. People always, expecting you to be a certain way.
They think you're one thing when you're not.
Right. Of course, again, even like in the Edward Scissorhands movie, it's like, oh, he, Satan follows him and things of that nature. They think he's a monster,
right?
Like, Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster.
And I love the similarities between them, and even the fact that there was a scientist on a hill who created life. Of course, wildly different characters.
Yes,
we're
not going to talk about the whole grave robbing thing to make a monster. That's a whole separate story,
right? But I do think that his characteristics give him lots of brownie points there. You know what I mean? Maybe he doesn't necessarily dress or look goth.
Right.
But the fact that he goes through the same trials and tribulations that a lot of goth individuals go through.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would definitely, So let's keep that for now. So we got 5 Dracula, 4 Tilly, 3 the monster, 2, I think, what did we get? We got Ghostface.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So, if I'm not mistaken, I'm the one that chose Ghostface.
Yes, this is one of your picks.
Yeah. So, the reason why Ghostface is all the way up at number 2, at this point, I'm kind of like regretting that. I don't know why it's not Dracula at number 2. When I really...
let me say we're keeping this list fluid, so we can move them around as we see fit.
But Ghostface, draped in black. Literally draped in black. He looks like death. And
looks like the Grim Reaper.
Right. He looks like the Grim Reaper. And goths in the goth community, as well as like gothic people, like headbangers, metalheads, be it whoever you are in the alternative community, we have a fascination with death, death. And it's a nice fascination. I don't think it's destructive. I think it's fun. We like skulls.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're sad when other people pass. It's not like we're just heartless people who go, oh man, I can't wait for them to pass because I like death. It's like And you know what I mean? But it's like, okay, well, there's this fascination with death. So he embodies what death looks like, and not only that, but he also,
Again,
acts upon
another serial unaliver for our list.
right, and if I'm not mistaken, he has one hell of a unalive count. Like,
Yes, I would
yeah,
imagine so. Across like 6 or something movies, he must
right.
have quite the body count.
That's what I'm saying. And okay, so the reason why I'm so drawn to Ghostface is, yes, he does look like death. Um, but it's also the creepiness, because he's not.
Mhm.
Of course, you can look like death and just all other characteristics not be very goth.
Right.
Technically, that's Ghostface, because like all other characteristics of him are not very goth.
Right.
But he is a creepy guy. I'm watching you. Like he's got that voice. It's just like, what the fuck? And it's kind of spooky. It's kind of creepy. Not only that, it's like Scream is just cult classic. Yeah,
of course.
And we're, again, this is going to be very fluid until we get to the next one, which is number 1 on our list is Pinhead
From the Hellraiser franchise.
From the Hellraiser franchise. Now, his name has not always been Pinhead, and actually his name is not Pinhead.
It's the Hell Priest.
The Hell Priest, yes. Pinhead was a, how do you say that word? Pseudoquet, something like that. It's like a name that the designers gave him, like the makeup artist. They were like, oh, well, that's Pinhead, and Clive Barker was like, I really don't like that name, but they still named him Pinhead because everybody called him Pinhead, including the audience. We were like, oh, look, it's Pinhead.
Yeah.
But the Hell Priest, why he's number 1 should be an obvious answer to anybody watching our show right now, because he's awesome. He wears all black leather, very sadomasochist, very BDSM, because you got fetish core as well. And not only that, I mean, he's the Hell Priest. How fucking dark and awesome is that? He's super pale, like white face, which is on par.
Yes.
Not only that, but he's very like stoic. You can feel his intelligence, and I would like to say that that's pretty goth. Just a very, very sophisticated individual entity even.
Yeah, entity. That's probably a better word for it.
Yeah. The fact that he's all of those things, angels to some, demons to others, like that is like, I can't. He is so goth. Next thing I know, we'll catch Pinhead listening to Susie Sue.
I don't know about that,
but Pinhead definitely deserves his number 1 spot. The Hell Priest is absolutely the most goth horror icon. Can't think of one that's actually even gets even close to what he's at.
Okay.
Like if number 2 is there, Pinhead is way up at number 1. So let's start playing with this.
And also, one thing I would also like to get into before we go into, really finalizing our list here.
Right.
Both number 1 and 2, Pinhead and Ghostface, also feature in the video game Dead by Daylight.
Yes.
Which is how a lot of some of the more modern audiences might know them, as opposed to someone who might have seen the original movies.
Right. And you can also catch Chucky, but not his bride.
Yes.
I don't think.
I don't believe so, no.
I don't believe so. I'm not sure. I have to look into that. I'll get back to you guys on Twitter or something. X. But let's play with the list. Okay, so number 5, Dracula. 4, Tilly. 3, Franken. And 2, Ghostface. Let's switch them around, because I think Dracula deserves number 2 spot.
Yes. I would definitely agree that Dracula, as we've in the incarnation we have discussed, definitely needs to move up the list.
Yes, I think he deserves the number 2 spot. He is completely Victorian. He is the embodiment of the vampire.
Yes.
He is He is the scariest vampire that you can come across. He lives in a Gothic castle. The man is Victorian as all hell. And the fact that he drinks more blood than a goddamn army of mosquitoes. The guy it definitely deserves that spot. Now, is he a hell priest? No. Does he wear black leather? Close. He wears black cloth. But I think we can successfully conclude that Dracula deserves the number 2 spot.
Okay,
so that
I'm definitely okay with that.
Cool. That leaves
so now where
open.
Where does that put? Do we want to directly address where that puts Ghostface then?
It's hard.
Or do we want to just keep going up for now?
Well, I'm thinking because now we're playing with Frankenstein, Tilly, and Ghost, right? Okay, well, what makes each one of those more goth than the next? If it was me, just to fill the silence, right? I'm thinking Tilly is actually more goth than Ghost.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I would definitely say that.
But then now it's just a question of where does Frankenstein's monster fit into this? Is he number 3 or is he number 5?
I feel okay. At the same time, you and me, we're gonna spit out 3 or 5 on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
3.
5. Shit. I feel like okay. So you defend 3.
Again, because as I said, he's living essentially a very Gothic experience, a very Gothic lifestyle. While honestly, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because of the things that we've said that Tiffany has in her favor, I think I would probably do I want to put Tiffany over Frankenstein's monster? Because yes, again, if you just looked at a picture of them, would you say, if you said which one is a more Gothic character, I think I might say Tiffany.
Yeah.
So I think maybe Tiffany goes to number 3, but I personally want to say Frankenstein's monster at number 4 because I feel he's living more of that Gothic experience than what Ghostface is.
I can absolutely agree with you because I'm feeling Ghostface get pushed all the way to the back. Just like my natural feeling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, as with the things we've discussed here, he definitely feels like, again, the thing that we keep coming up with making these, a Gothic icon features in a lot of Gothic media, a lot of art, you'll see a lot of material with them on it.
Right.
We're looking at the character themselves.
Exactly.
Are they themselves Gothic?
So that's why I think Jennifer Tilly's, Tiffany Valentine definitely deserves the number 3 spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've moved Tiffany up to number 3. We've moved Ghostface down to number 5, leaving us with Frankenstein's monster at number 4, which, while again, according to our list, makes sense, but just something about that seems off to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's...
I think it's something that has to do with the fact with the timing of it, because, Frankenstein's monster's been around for over 100 years.
I know.
Tiffany Valentine is from 1998.
Right. It's hard
if this is a Gothic icon list, it's tough to have someone 100 years old, someone, 20.
Right. I mean, but here's the thing. I'm going to defend Valentine right now, okay? I'm going to say that the Hell Priest has only been around since the 80s. Well, Frankenstein's been around, and Dracula has been around forever,
Right.
And we're still placing him at number 1 because it makes sense.
Right.
I would say Tiffany Valentine, the Bride of Chucky, deserves her number 3 spot based on how witchy she is. And then, of course, the absolute goth look. Right.
Definitely fits the attire.
Right. Because there's Gothic, like Dracula, but then there's just goth. And that's what her character is, It's a character that was born after goth music became a thing. So it's a character who derives her appearance off of goth.
Right. the product of the culture, not one of the building blocks for it.
Yes, absolutely. So I definitely think that she deserves the number 3 spot because she actually is goth. You
Okay.
know, Frankenstein
Okay.
will definitely take precedent over Ghostface, because Ghostface, no matter how much he looks like death, he is not death. One, and two, that man is just a psycho person,
Right, just
you
an
know?
angsty teenager who's gone off the rails.
Right. It's either, and it's funny because like Ghostface, right? The character, he's either an angsty teenager or he's a copycat.
Right.
It's one of those. It's one of those.
Yeah.
So I would say Frankenstein definitely deserves that. You know, he lives a lifestyle of, like you said, an outcast. He lives in seclusion. He lives in the dark. He is sophisticated and intelligent, and he longs for love, you know, which is a big part of everything. You know, so yeah.
Which is why they eventually gave him a bride, which again, not the permutation we're discussing now, but you know, Bride of Frankenstein is also pretty gothic in her own right.
Right. Oh, I bet you didn't know, and this is for all of you Frankenstein lovers out there. I bet you didn't know that Mary Shelley wrote the book to glorify like homosexuality.
Really?
Yeah. Think about it. The director of the original Frankenstein was gay, you know? And he wanted to make a movie based on a book that really hit home because it was about a man who creates another man and they just want to live together in peace. You know, one man dies and the other man is upset. And then they come out with Bride of Frankenstein, and the entire movie, what's going on? She's screaming because she sees him. He doesn't even want to be around her, basically. You know what I mean? It's truly like it's a powerful piece. Frankenstein is a powerful piece. If you look into like real Frankenstein stuff.
I guess also that's why. Again, also they view Frankenstein's monster as a monster because in you know those times, you know, homosexuality was vilified.
Right, exactly. And so I mean, all of that, when you really think about it like that in that light, it all makes so much sense.
Right.
So much sense. But back to being goth, right?
Yes.
That's just a little bit of Frankenstein history. Yeah, he definitely deserves his spot. So let's count down from 5 to 1, right? Okay. At number 5, we have decided it goes to Ghostface. You know, he's the least goth of all of them. He wears the black. He looks like death, but he is not very goth. And then we move on to Frankenstein. Yes. Frankenstein, dark clothing, dark personality, seclusion, outcast, pretty goth.
Yes.
You know?
Very gothic lifestyle.
Right. We move on to Tiffany.
Yes, witchy. Tiffany Valentine, Bride of Chucky.
Bride of Chucky. Witchy. Wears black. Wears black eyeliner. Is also a psycho. We go on to number 2. And we have decided Dracula himself from the 1992 Bram Stoker.
Yeah, specifically that one.
Yeah, specifically that one with Gary Oldman. You know, you look at him, and the guy is Victorian. He lives in a castle. He is the master of all vampires. He's the best. He's the best in the business.
Again, one of the best, you know, dress-up goth outfits you can imagine for a male-presenting person.
Yes. And then finally at number 1, we have the Hell Priest himself, Pinhead himself, the Cenobite.
Yes, that's the word.
Right, Cenobite. The Cenobite to take the cake. You know, we got him at number 1. The guy has a pale white face. He is literally from hell. He wears all black leather, tight bondage, sadomasochist stuff. You know, this is very, very common in the goth scene, you know. And then of course like he's he's also very stoic, sophisticated, doesn't really talk a lot, but talks when he needs to. And when he talks, it holds power.
Immensely quotable.
Right. Immensely quotable. So,
and also another thing as far as how iconic they are. Frankenstein has a pretty unique silhouette.
Right.
Generally the blockhead, a very long face, and generally a put together body, because again, he's the result of grave robbing.
Was it the Boris Karloff?
Yes,
Frankenstein.
Yes, but when you think of iconic silhouettes, bald head, pinhead is one of, if not the most iconic silhouettes of a character you can see without seeing his face, without you don't have to see that it's his face. You just see
you can
that
just
outline.
look at the outline and be like, oh well, I know who that is.
Exactly.
And
so that's another reason why I feel that he should top our list as one of the most iconic goth villains, horror villains specifically.
And with that said, this is just our list,
Yes.
Did we get something wrong? Do you think that we messed up, that we should redo the list?
Is there someone that we should feature on this, a part 2 of this list? Who do you think is there someone you think we should replace Ghostface with?
Yeah. Good point. Can we replace Ghostface? Let us know in the comment section below, just because it'll really help us out with coming up with content and moving forward from there. With that being said,
and if you want to see a part 2 of this list, let us know.
Yes. If you want to see a part 2, definitely put it in the comments. So with all that said, guys, we hope you liked the video, and we do ask. Fuck, why do I always fuck this up?
I was about to say, don't do the wrong outro again.
Damn it. So we thank you for listening, and to wrap things up, we ask that if you're listening to us on Spotify, or this is the wrong one, isn't it?
No, that's the right one.
Well, shit, let me do it again. So we thank you for listening, and to wrap things up, we do ask that if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star rating if you feel like we have earned that, and leave us a review, because it's super, super helpful.
You can find all of our social media in the description box below, including links to our Discord, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. And with all that said, stay tuned for the next episode, and stay Gothic, YouTube.